Assalamualaikum and good morning. Okay, sorry for the delay. Okay, boleh stretching dulu. Okay, so for today, we're going to go through topic number 2, which is about risk and return of a single security. So before we move, into details, obviously kita kena go through balik lah what is return and what is risk. Okay, so return. Masa our first topic pun kita dah go through this. Okay, when we talk about return, okay, the definition would be rewards for investment or the benefits that an investor expects to receive over some period of time. So some period of time ni usually refers to the time horizon, berapa lama dia nak simpan kan. Okay, ataupun berapa lama dia nak invest the money that they have. Okay, so there'll be two components, right? Number one is from the returns in a form of dividend. Dividend ataupun interest or even rental depending on the types of instruments that they invested. Okay, and this kita panggil dia income return ataupun sometimes we call them income gain. Okay, after for example, kalau di invest dividend ni katakanlah di invest in unit trust, for example. Okay, trust example katakanlah paling simple ESB. Okay, disimpan dalam ESB every month after the end of the year. Just by the end of the year selalunya dia akan buat announcement how much will be the dividend for the year. Okay, berapa persen dividen tahun semasa. Then dia akan make the payment early of next year. Lalunya macam tu lah, ESB or even EASN. Right, so itu dipanggil income return ataupun income gain. Right, and the other types of return is in a form of capital gain. This one ada beritahu sebelum ni juga. This is in a form of price appreciation. Okay, whenever there's changes in terms of price, okay, sama ada in stocks ke, okay, example ni, dalam stock lah, contohnya, stock price, right, harga masa you beli, let's say, RM1, 20 cent, okay, so you beli, buy, okay, RM1, 20 cents, so after 1 month, for example, the price dah jadi RM1, 50 cent, okay, from 120 to 150, so there's 30 cent increment. 30 cent increment. So this is what we call as capital gain. Okay, whereby there's changes in terms of the price or even the market value. So market value pun sama lah. Last meeting pun ada beritahu example untuk market value, contohnya untuk property. Okay, property. So you beli pada X value of ringgit and then after a while, 1 year, 2 years, whatever, harga rumah tu naik. And you have the chance untuk jual in order for you to get the capital gain. All right, that's the definition of return. How, as an investor, okay, you intend to get your returns. So this is the two common forms that you can get your returns, either from income return, and second is from the capital. So this is an example, okay, in using some illustration related with the investment dalam stock. So example, if you purchase 1,000 units of shares, 1,000 units of shares, remember in share market in Malaysia especially, our investment selalunya kita akan guna in a form of lot. Okay, one lot. Macam tu lah. Paling minimum lah. Satu lot bersamaan dengan 100 units. Okay. So kita tak boleh nak beli, okay, I nak beli 20 unit stock A, tak boleh. It must be in a lot basis. So in Malaysia, we have to invest in lot basis. So satu lot equivalent to 100 units. So therefore kalau nak dapat 100 units ni, technically you're gonna have to buy 10 lots lah. 10 lot baru dapat 1000 units of shares. Okay, this is some trivia lah untuk investment in share market in Malaysia. Okay, so imagine you purchase 1000 units of shares for stock A and the price that you bought for was RM5.80. Okay, this is the purchase price, 580. And later, after 1 year, you sold it for 660. Okay, you can see lah the price appreciation from 580. And then later, after 1 year, the price increased to 660. So from here, you can see lah there's changes of 80 cents. Okay, from 580 to 660, ada increment of 80%. And on top of that, okay, you dah selain daripada price appreciate by 80 cents, you also receive a cash dividend of 30 cents during that period. Okay, can be once, can be twice. Katakanlah in total, you dapat 30 cents. During 1 year period tu, you get 30 cents. For each unit. For each unit 30 sen ni bukan 30 sen je, 30 cents per share ataupun per unit. So how much would be your returns? Okay, so remember we have two types at the end. The first one is in the form of, let's say here, kita tengok dulu capital gain. Okay, so capital gain is based on the price appreciation. So like I said, from 580 to 660, ada naik 80 sen. So this is technically 80 cents. So 80 cents multiply with 1000 units. So from capital appreciation, capital gain, we receive 800 ringgit return. Okay, 800 ringgit returns. And secondly, okay, this person ataupun you dapat 30 cents return in a form of income. Okay, income gain ataupun return lah. So how much is your current dividend yield? So 30 cents, again, multiply with 1000, you earn 300 ringgit. Okay, 300 ringgit. So the question, what is your total? So technically it's just 800 plus 300 ringgit. So your total return would be 1,100 ringgit for the whole year. But this 1,100 ringgit dengan syarat, in order for you to get this amount of money, again, if you recall juga last time cakap, in order to get this, you have to sell. Okay, in order to get this capital gain, 800 ringgit ni, yang ni kalau nak dapat, you have to sell your stocks. So maknanya after 1 year, you sell lah. That's why dia kata sold kan. You have to sell it in order to get the return. Kalau you tak jual, katakanlah after 1 year, the price naik 660, tapi you hold for it. Okay, 300 ringgit ni you akan dapat. 300 ringgit ni, you obviously will enjoy that. Tapi these 800 ringgit returns will only be on paper saja. You know your 800 ringgit richer, okay, based on your stock punya values. However, in order for you to get that 800 ringgit on your hand, okay, you have to sell it. Okay, so dalam case ni, or based on this example, you earn the 800 ringgit lah because the question kata you jual, you sold it for 660. Right, so total return in this case is 1,100 ringgit. So that's how we measure returns. Okay, ada dua elemen lah. So the measurements of returns, okay, it can be expressed in percentage annualized over the time period of the investment is held. Okay, ataupun kita panggil dia holding period. Okay, ataupun in short, kita boleh panggil dia HP ya, holding period. So measurement of returns allow investors to compare the expected returns. Again, this is another terms you kena make uh, make aware of, ataupun you have to familiar with the terminology. So here is the ER, expected returns, of the investment with the actual returns required to justify the investment. So the holding period, there are two types of measurement. Okay, the first one is called holding period return ataupun HPR. And to measure this is very simple. We use a simple calculation. We just take the ending value of investment, and we divide it with the beginning value of the investment. Okay, ending value of the investment, we divide with the beginning value of the investment. And the second measurement, so this is the first one, HBR. So in order to make it in percentage, to get the yield or the rate of return, simply take the HBR with 1. Okay, so the one. Okay, number 3 ni kita skip dulu for now, just for now. So if we go back to the example just now, for this example, katakan we take this example in order to calculate our HPR, for example, the ending value of our investment is RM6.60. Okay, RM6.60, and the beginning value was RM5.80. So if we just divide these two, 6.6 dengan 5.8, so we get 1.1379. Okay, 1.1379. Okay, so this is the HP return, holding period return. But if you want to get the yield ataupun the rate of return in percentage, simply take this 1.1379 minus with 1. Okay, always minus 1. So you get 0.1379, or if you convert into percentage, it's 13.79%. Okay, let's get typo tadi. Okay, 13.79%. So based on this scenario, from 580 and after 1 year, you sold it for 660. So in general, your rate of return is equivalent to 13.79%. Okay, so that's how we measure the holding period return and the holding period yield. But for this question, okay, ini nampak macam ni je lah calculation ni kan, 13.79. Tapi kita jangan lupa we have this 30 cent juga sebenarnya. Okay, but this one kita akan skip dulu for now. So this 13.79 is just based on these changes sahaja. Okay, based on these price changes sahaja. Alright, so we ignore this 30 cents return for now. Okay, sebenarnya kita kena include sekali. But to illustrate the concept of HPR, HPY, we just have the ending value and the beginning value, and we just minus 1, right, in order to get it in percentage. However, nombor 1 dengan nombor 2 ni selalunya kita boleh kira when our returns memang exactly for 1 year. Okay, but most of the time, our investment, okay, not necessarily exactly will be on the dot 1 year. It can be sometimes less or sometimes more than 1 year. Okay, katakanlah 6 months, 9 months, or even 1.5 years, 2 years. Okay, so in order to get, ataupun if you want to make comparison between multiple investments, obviously you can make it even, right? So that we can compare it, fairly. So that's why we have the third concept, the third formula, which using the annualized HPR and HPY. Okay, so to get the annual HPR, We use the HPR to the power, kuasa to the power of 1 divided by N, whereby the N is the number of years of the investment. Okay, N ni adalah number of years. So kalau 2 tahun, so 1 divided by 2, for example. So kalau 6 bulan, so 1 divided by 0.5. Okay, so then we get the HPR, annual HPR. So to get the annual HPY, similar like HPY earlier, we just minus with 1. Okay, concept yang sama. We just minus it with 1, then you get it in percentage. Okay, so this is another example. Okay, assume that you invest 2,000 ringgit at the beginning of the year. Okay, 2,000 ringgit at the beginning of the year. And at the end of the year, you receive ataupun the price of the investment increase to 2,200 ringgit. Okay, so very simple concept. The ending value is 2002 and the beginning was 2,000 ringgit. So 2002 divided by 2,000 is equivalent to 1.1 and we minus it with 1. Okay, 1.1 minus 1 is 0.1. So 0.1 technically you darab 100 lah ni Whenever point ni you just multiply with 100, then you get 10% in order to convert it into percentage. So the holding period yield is equivalent to 10%. So this is the amount of returns that you earn throughout the year. Okay, this is based on yang tadi concept number 1 and concept number 2. Okay, but now let's say we have another example, okay, for 2 different investment with 2 different time horizon. Okay, jumlah investment tu ataupun tempoh investment tu tak sama. We have one investment in stock A, right, with 2 different prices lah, beginning and ending. And the first investment, stock A, you invest for 2 years. So this is the end tadi 2 years. And we have in stock B juga, you invested in for 6 months. So this is another end. So kalau you nak tengok from, just on the surface, you tengok investment A, I invest 2005. So after 2 years, I earn 3,005. So that's a change of 1,000 ringgit. Untuk stock A, changes ni simbol 3 segi ni is change. A ni is for stock A lah. So the change for stock A is 1,000 ringgit. And untuk stock B, the change to stock B, okay, from 1,000 naik to 1,002. So the change is just 200 ringgit. Okay, so from, like I said, from the surface, you nampak stock A lagi untung sebab I earn 1,000 ringgit over 2 years. Okay, tapi untuk stock B, I earn 200 ringgit saja. Okay, kalau you kata average lah, 6 months 200, so nak dapat 2 tahun, you darab 4 kali lah. 4 kali untuk samakan dengan 200 kan. So you times 4, you nampak stock A still untung sebab I earn 1,000 ringgit. Okay, 1,000 ringgit in 2 years. Ni kalau I darab 4 pun baru 800 ringgit stock B. So you rasa stock A is much profitable. Okay, but it's not fair to compare it like that. So kita kena calculate, like I said tadi, the annual HPR and also the HPYs based on the 2 stocks. So this is the third formula. Formula yang ketiga tadi, in order to analysekan the HPR, we use the concept of HPR to the power of 1 divided by N. So HPR punya formula is still the same, beginning divided by ending. So beginning divided by ending for stock A was 3,005 divided by 2,005 to the power of 1 over N. So the N for stock A adalah 2 years. So 1 over 2. Okay, so you can use your calculator. You get 3,005 divided by 2,005 to the power of 1 over 2. You get 1.1832. Okay, 1.1832 minus 1 equivalent to 0.1832 ataupun 18.32%. So untuk tempoh 2 tahun ni, walaupun 2 tahun, per year, okay, dalam masa setahun, right, on annual basis, okay, we annualize it. So kita punya return per year is equivalent to 18.32%. Okay, 18.32%. So not bad. This is a quite good investment. Kalau in real life ada this return lah, it is considered good return investment. Okay. However, if we look closer on stock B, okay, on stock B, with the same formula, but for this case, stock B, dia punya current value is 1,002, ataupun the ending value. We divide with 1,000, the beginning value, to the power of 1, okay. And this time around, our N is 6 months. So as I mentioned tadi, kalau dia kurang daripada setahun, you have to use one form lah. So you just take, kalau 6 bulan, maknanya 6/12 is 0.5. So ni mana dapat 0.5 is 6 months over 12. Okay, this one. Nak dapat 0.5 tu, 6/12. But it's 6 months. So you have to divide by 1 year lah, by 12. Alright, jangan letak 6 je kat sini. Kalau 6 tu equivalent to 6 years, 1/6 contohnya. Okay, 6 tu nanti, the formula will assume that is for 6 years. Okay, sebab N tu is the number of years. So kalau dia kurang daripada setahun, you have to make it in points. Alright, so 1 divided by 0.5. So here the HPR annual is 1.44. Okay, and minus with 1 is 0.44, or equivalent to 44%. So here, as you can see, stock B is actually more profitable as compared to stock A. Okay, from annual point of view. Okay, bila kita annualizekan this investment to stock B ni, the equivalent rate is actually 44%. So if we have to compare which one is more profitable, sebenarnya stock B is more profitable. Okay, even though it's just 200 ringgit, okay, lower values, and it's just for 6 months, okay. But if we compare ataupun kita annualizekan the percentage, the return is actually much higher. Okay, more than double ni. Kalau double pun baru 36% ada 44%. Okay, so technically stock B is more profitable. Kalau disuruh compare lah, if you want to compare which kind of investment which is more profitable, so the answer should be stock B. So we cannot simply tengok on surface, tengok mana yang lagi banyak, okay, and kita agak-agak je which one is better. We have to calculate to make it more informed decisions. Okay, so this is the concept of HPR and HPY, and together, if we have multiple investment with different time horizons, we can make comparison by make it annual. Okay, make it annual, especially kalau the two investment ni bukan dalam time horizon yang sama. Okay, it's not the same length. Okay, boleh. Next up is the concept of computing average historical returns. Okay, sometimes our returns, bila kita buat records lah, our records can, bila kita dah keep track our investment for multiple years, every year might give us different set of rates of return. So how to measure the average, okay, ataupun the mean of annual return? So we have multiple types of returns that we can measure. Okay, the first one is called arithmetic mean, okay, ataupun AM. Or in normal terms lagi, yang bahasa yang biasa kita gunakan adalah simple average. Concept of simple average. Okay, average mudah. Bahasa Melayu dia apa? Mudah. Purata. Purata mudah lah, maknanya you just take the total of returns, the sum of total returns. HPY ni remember in percentage. You sumkan dia ataupun you totalkan whatever number of returns that you have, and we divide it with n, the number of years. So kalau you ada 5 different returns, katakanlah 4.2, 5.4, lepas tu naik 6.1, and then dia turun balik 5.8, and then dia go 3.8. Contohnya lah. So you have 5 different years of return. So in order to get the simple average, what you need to do is to sum total kan ni. Okay, 5 figure ni I just pluck from the air je, just to show you what will be the return ataupun the average. So the total here is 25.3. Okay, ni semua percentage lah. So ni semua percentage. So in order to get average, AM, it would be 25.3. You divide with how many numbers? We have 5 years kat sini. 5. So the average is about 5.06%. Okay, so that's the simple average. Okay, ataupun the arithmetic mean of returns. We add every single returns. Katakanlah ni, maknanya ni year 1 sampailah year 5. Okay, ni untuk 5 tahun yang berbeza lah. Okay, then we can get the annual ataupun the average ataupun the arithmetic mean of 5.06%. Okay, for one single instrument ataupun one single investment. The second types of average is by using geometric mean or GM. Okay, so for this geometric mean, instead of we use the rates of return macam ni, we're gonna use the HPR instead. You remember HPR tadi, macam mana dapat HPR? Whatever amount that you have here, you kena plus 1. You go reverse lah. So instead of HPR minus 1 to get HPY, so nak dapat HPR is technically HPY plus 1. The percentage ataupun the point tadi. And the formula is the pi. Pi ni adalah the multiplication ataupun the products of all returns. Okay. Pi of HPR to the power of 1 over n minus 1. Okay, just quite similar macam kita calculate HPY tadi. So the pi HPR represent the product of annual HPR. When in mathematics, bila kita kata product ni is the multiplication. Multiplication of all. So maknanya kat sini kalau I gunakan example yang sama ni, so you're supposed to have, kalau I letak kat sini formula dia 4.2, kalau you reverse balik is 0.042 lah kan, and then you add 1, so it will be 1.042. So this is the HPR untuk year 1. Okay, how I get 1.042 is 4.2. Yeah, 4.2 ni is equivalent to 0.042. So to get HPR, so you're going to add 1. So it become 1.042. So this is the first one. So 1.042 multiply with 1.054 multiply with 1.061 multiply with 1.058 and multiply with 1.038. Okay, so this is the product that you need to find. Okay, kena darab semua ni. And whatever answer you get, 1, and dia 5 tahun, then you baru minus dengan 1. Okay, if I can get it correctly here. I don't have the answer by the way, sebab figures tu I just create just now. Power of 1, 5, 1. 8 times 100. Okay, so untuk this example, our geometric mean is actually quite the same. 5.56, 5.056 ataupun it's about 5.06 as well. So dia lebih kurang sama. Okay, dia lebih kurang sama. Okay, mungkin the point different tapi bila kita generalize, you can see it's quite the same lah. Okay, tapi let's say kita ada satu soalan ataupun one example with three years punya period. With suppose you invested 1,000 ringgit 3 years ago at the beginning and it worth 1104 now. Okay, ni beginning value dia. This is the ending value after 3 years. So the information below shows the annual ending values of HPR and HPY. Okay, ni HPR dia and HPY. And HPY can ataupun possible to get a negative. Okay, HPY boleh dapat negatif. Okay, bila kita punya ending value is less than the beginning value. So maknanya kita punya numerator ni bila kita calculate HPY tahun ketiga is 1104 divided by 1380. Okay, so kita punya numerator ni less than denominator, then our HPR is less than 1. And bila kita ambil 1.8 minus 1 kan, sebab formula dia untuk HPY, HPR minus 1. So if our HPR is less than 1, obviously kita akan dapat a negative values. Okay, so HPY possible to get negative. So maknanya kita rugi 20% lah dalam case ni. Okay, going back to this one. This example illustrate the computation of AM and GM over 3 period of time. So kita ada 3 tahun of HPYs and we have 3 HPRs as well. Okay, so for HPY, okay, simply take the 3 returns of HPY 0.15, 0.2 and -2. So these two basically knock off each other. Okay, plus 0.2 dengan -0.2 bila kita calculate manually is 0 lah, it's equals to 0. So technically it's just 15% bahagi 3. So 15% bahagi 3 adalah 5%. Okay, so the arithmetic mean is 5%, the average. And based on geometric mean, okay, the 3 HPRs, sorry, okay, 1.15, 1.2, 1.8, you just multiply je. Saya tunjuk tadi lah, 1.15 multiply dengan 1.2, multiply with 0.8. Okay, dia tak ada negatif Okay, just multiply the 3, you dapat one answer. Make it to the power of 1 over 3 minus 1. So dalam case ni, the arithmetic mean, the geometric mean is at 3.35%. Okay, slightly lower. Okay, slightly lower. Okay, so this is the general comparison. If the returns of for the investment is equal every year, the GM will be equal, but when the returns not the same, usually the AM will be higher than GM. Okay, selalunya AM will be higher than the GM. Okay, so AM is best used as an expected value for an individual year, but GM is actually the best measurement of an asset's long-term performance. Okay, so that's the two measurements of average that we can use. Okay, so GM ni sebenarnya lagi accurate lah sebenarnya, lagi true in terms of the value. Especially kalau the range, macam soalan ni tadi kan, the return tu agak extreme sebab kita ada negative values ni. So kalau kita salah tengok simple average, kita nampak macam return kita tinggi. Okay, tapi especially kalau ada lagi extreme than this. Okay, satu tu tinggi maybe sampai 40% and then the other end ada, return yang sampai negative 30 contohnya. So the extreme difference tu can apa? The value of our average kalau guna AM ni mungkin akan not accurate lah kalau kita to rely on AM alone. So better actually to compare the two, calculate both AM, GM. And when you see the difference macam ni, selalunya GM ni bagi kita some better reading lah in terms of our average. Okay, coming back to the rates of return. Okay, tadi ada EV dengan BV kan. Ending values dengan beginning value. Remember tadi my very first example yang increased by 80 cents, 660 dengan 580 tadi. The very first example. And we received 30 cents return. Okay, yang dia punya ending value dia RM6.60. Okay. Then the beginning value dia was 580. So tadi kita dapat around 13%, sorry, 13 point something percent. But that question sebenarnya dia ada income, dia ada this part, the dividend. And for that question, the dividend was 30 cents. So you're supposed to add any returns that you gain throughout the period as part of your EV. Okay, maknanya tadi sepatutnya 6.6 plus 0.3, you get 6.9 and divide by 5.8. Okay, you get 1.1897. So technically, your HPY is 18.97%. Okay, so HPR is sama je, HPR, this is HPR. Okay, you just minus 1, then you get 18.97%. So you have additional 0.5%. Ataupun it's actually additional 5. Tadi 13 point something saja kan. So now when we add 30 cents, it shoot up our total returns to a total of 18.97%. So this income can be in a form of dividend, macam example tadi, or interest earn, or any other additional values that you earn throughout the period. Okay, so then our rates of return would be much accurate lah. Sebab kita masuk sekali any additional income that you receive. Okay, can be dividend, sometimes can be bonus. Tiba investment you bayar bonus to you kan. So you need to put in together with the ending value. Okay, to get the rates of return in the form of HPY. Okay, so this is more comprehensive punya example. Okay, tapi dia dah tulis jawapan semua ni. So we have 3 years of period, okay, with multiple beginnings and ending values. So technically, you bought it at RM3.20, and after 3 years, the value of the investment go up to RM4.50. Tapi throughout the year tu, dia naik je lah. From 320 naik to 3.5, and 3.5 ni basically akan jadi beginning value for the second year lah kan. Bila ending tahun pertama, dia akan jadi beginning tahun kedua. Right, 350 and then jumps up to 4 ringgit and 10 cents, and this 4 ringgit 10 cents akan jadi beginning for year number 3. Okay, and then it ends at 450. Okay, kita ada 3 tahun punya data. Alright, and each year they earn 30 cents, 50 cents and 80 cents of dividend. Dia tak tulis ni accumulated. I assume I kena double check whether this is accumulated ataupun the value of dividend increase every year. Apa beza dia accumulated ataupun tak? Kalau on surface, I tak check lagi ni. The dividend 30 sen ni macam nampak okay, tahun pertama dividen dia ada 30 sen. Tahun kedua, dividen dia ada 50 sen. And tahun ketiga, dividen is 80 cents. Okay, tapi kalau dia accumulated, dia tulis itu accumulated. Accumulate lah, maknanya dia punya information ataupun dividen tu is hasil tambah for each year. So meaning kat sini, first year dia receive 30 cents. So the second year, dia dapat a total combine of 50 cents. So technically second year ni dia hanya ada plus 0.2 sahaja. Maknanya 20 cents for this second year. And for year 3, since second year dah 50 cents, so ada additional 30 cents kat sini, 0.03. Okay, itu kalau the concept of accumulated. So 80 sen ni adalah jumlah terkumpul dia lah. Maknanya 30 sen tahun pertama, 20 sen tahun kedua, and 30 sen tahun ketiga. So bila you add, baru dapat 80 sen. Itu kalau konsep accumulated. Tapi yang ni, let's check lah. I pun tak ingat dia punya soalan ni. Okay. We can check. Okay, anyway. So the HBR is 1.1875. So let's check. So 3.5 ending value campur 30 cents. 3.8 divided by 3.2. So we get 1.1875. So ni betul lah based on 30 cent. So untuk the second year, it's 4.1. Katakanlah kita plus 0.5. Kita dapat 4.6. And we divide with 3.5. So you get 1.3143. Okay, so betul. So maknanya this is the dividend for the year. Okay, so maknanya 3.5 plus 0.3 bahagi dengan 3.2, you get this one. So second year pun sama, 4.1 plus 0.5 divided by 3.5, you get 1.3143. And similarly for year 3, is 4.5 plus 80 cents divided by 4.1. Then you get this value. Okay, so minus 1, you dapatlah HPY setiap tahun. So to get the average, okay, untuk gunakan EM, so just add these two lah. Add these three. What is 18.75 plus 31.43 plus 29.27, and we divide by 3, we get this 26.488%. Okay, and to get GM, kita guna HBR 1.1875 multiply, ni darab 1.2143 and multiply with 1.2927 to the power of 1/3 and then minus 1. So the GM, geometric mean, is 26.36%. So this concept take into consideration this income. Okay, the dividend ni kita kena add together with the ending value for us to calculate the HBR and also HBY. Okay, ada soalan so far? So this is the concept of returns. Okay, and we use the average concept in order to measures the performance. Okay, so that kita boleh make comparison between one investment dengan investment yang lain. Okay.
Doktor, jangan nak tanya.
Okay.
Accumulated income tu ada difference ke kalau it's accumulated or not?
Yes.
Oh, so belum lagi ya kan?
Untuk soalan ni dia bukan accumulated. Okay, this one is not accumulated. Cuma I tak sure tadi kan. That's why I double check this figure. Bila check this figure, we just use the 30 cent, 50 cent, 80% ni. We take it as the dividend for the year.
Sekejap, lepas tu tak faham tu accumulated income tu. Is it like for the fourth year, is it 1.2?
Sebab fourth year kita tak ada data tu, we cannot assume lah dia 1.2. Tapi kalau kita gunakan accumulated income, macam cakap tadi, accumulated, kita katakanlah kat sini instead of dividend saja, dia tulis accumulated dividend, katakan they use the terms accumulated dividend kat sini. So instead of kita ambil 3.5 yang first year ni, okey lah 3.5 plus 30 cents divided by 3.2, kita dapat 1.1875. Tetapi for the second year, bila letak sini accumulated dividend dia 50 sen, okay, technically dividend for the year, okay, dividend untuk tahun kedua ni is not 50 sen. Okay, sebab tahun pertama kita dah dapat 30 sen, so accumulated tu bermaksud year 1 plus year 2 jadi 50 sen. So the difference, perbezaan itulah dividend for that particular year.
Okay.
So there will be difference kalau ditambah satu perkataan je, accumulated dividend. So bila letak accumulated dividend kat sini, sebenarnya kalau you nak calculate the HBR, kalau di accumulated, it will be 4.1 plus 20 cents saja. You don't add 50 cents. It plus 20 cents, divide by
Mm.
3.5, then you get a different HBR.
Alright.
So that's
Okay.
the implication just with the word accumulated. So be careful with that particular particular terms that they might use. Okay,
So wait. So accumulated is like previous year plus current year.
yep.
Kau dapat. Okay.
Dia bertambah,
Okay.
bertambah from the previous year.
Okay.
Just to give you an example. Sekejap Okay, ni ada some exercise question. Okay, I shared this one as well dalam dalam My Guru tu. Okay, if you download the notes, the slides tu, there's one other document in Word ke in PDF in PDF, whereby it shows you a set of exercises. Kita ada banyak agak lah soalan, ada 3 kan soalan. Right. So contoh untuk question 1 ni, Pak Easy Berhad ni from 2011 sampai 2015. So dia bagi beginning saja, beginning price. So obviously if you recall macam mana nak cari ending tadi, you can reverse okay, dia punya values. And this is the term they use, cumulative. Okay, cumulative ni macam accumulated lah cumulative dividend. So dividend in 2011 is 15 cents. Dividend in 2012 ditulis cumulative cumulative is 25. So apa maksud dia? Dia bukan bermaksud dividend tahun 2012 ni 25 sen. No. Okay, tahun 2012 the dividend is just the difference between the two. Okay, the difference between the two which is 10 sen. Okay, beza dia 10 sen je. So technically if you want to calculate the HPR, okay, the HPR, it will be the ending value, okay, the ending value untuk 2012 plus the difference which is 10 cent and we divide with the beginning value. Okay, faham The cumulative satu lagi, dia tak akan kurang daripada tahun sebelumnya. Nama pun cumulative, macam mana kita tiba-tiba nak dapat less than. Okay. Dividend selalunya dia bukan negatif lah. Dividend is either you get ataupun you don't get. That's it. Dia tak akan ada negative dividend. Prices, yes. Prices can go up and go down. Tapi dividend is either zero or you receive dividend. So that's why for cumulative, the values will keep on increasing every single year. And worst case scenario, dia akan remain constant. Dia tak berubah. So kalau katakanlah 2012 is 0.25 and 2013, dia remain at 0.25. Yeah, that's possible. Itu bermaksud tahun 2013 tu tak ada dividend. There's no dividend payment. Contohnya. So for cumulative, dia punya sequence ni will not be declining. Tak sepatutnya decline. It's either, like I said, constant ataupun dia akan increase lah.
Faham. How do we find the EV here? The EP. The
Ending value.
yeah, ending value dia. Macam mana
Ini
nak cari ni?
sepatutnya ni soalan quiz ni. Okay, I keep dulu the answer. Tapi
Alright.
kalau I go back to the notes, kalau you perasan tadi. Soalan the concept dia tadi Soalan tadi dia bagi beginning saja
Yes,
Whenever
dia bagi
the
begini.
ending value, okay, ni contoh set pertama. You tengok yang first year je. Okay, this one. You refer to this row saja. For year 1, dia bagi a complete of beginning value and ending value. So maknanya in year 1, you invest initially RM3.20 and then it ends with 350. Okay, soalan tadi dia bagi beginning saja kan. So maknanya in 2011, dia bagi you one beginning value. But the second year, untuk tahun kedua pula, dia bagi another beginning value. Kan? So to find the ending value of the previous year, dia reverse. So the beginning value of the second year is the ending value for the previous year.
Okay.
So that's how you find the EV for each of the year. Cuma you tak boleh cari semua lah. You have 2011 sampai 2015 kan. So bila dia 2015 beginning value, so we don't have the ending value for 2015. Untuk soalan tadi lah, you don't have the ending value for 2015. So 2015 we cannot calculate lah because we don't have the complete set. We just can calculate up until 2014 sahaja. So that's why if you refer to the question pun cakap suruh cari from 2011 until 2014 sahaja.
Alright.
Okay?
Right. Okay. Alright.
Okay.
And then if we look at the question, there is AHPR, is it? AHPY.
Annual. Annual HPR, annual HPY.
Oh, okay. Alright. Okay.
Okay. And check. Okay, before kita stop last part lah kot. This is the historical rates of return. Average historical. This is just like the average sebenarnya to calculate the returns. Okay, ni tak payah tunjuk lah kot sebab this is technically the arithmetic means. Okay, so the sum of all returns divided by the number of years. Okay. I think that's about it untuk return for time being. So let's take a short break before we proceed with the risk punya section lah, section untuk risk pula. Okay, let's take a short break. Okay, let's restart on the risk. So even though I said kita nak discuss pasal risk, we are actually still revolve around the return punya factor juga, because the second part of this is we incorporate the element of risk and what would be the implication towards the return. So based on this, kita kata in previous examples, we discussed the realized historical rates of return. Okay, but an investor would like to be more interested in the expected return. Okay, expected return ini whereby I usually use the symbol ER, E in the bracket of R, of a future risky investment. Okay, so risk here refers to the uncertainty of the future outcomes of an investment. Kita pernah discuss this during our topic number 1. So there are many factors that can cause a risk towards an investment. Okay, and usually due to the uncertainty. So in risk element, okay, there will be some probabilities of how high the chances of that risk ataupun the expectation of kita punya return tu can occur. Okay, so the higher the chance, usually the likelihood ni pun dia punya weightage will be higher as well. Okay, so the measurement of probability ni selalunya will be in a point form. Ataupun point ni sebenarnya boleh convert into percentage. And this sum of the probabilities, okay, it must equals to 1.0 or 100% lah. So contohnya kalau you ada dua potential je. Okay, kalau dalam satu investment tu, kalau you letak, okay, it's a 50-50 chance, you katakan. So it will be 0.5 dengan 0.5 chance lah. Ni kalau equal 50-50. But sometimes the probabilities you boleh split into 3 scenarios. So selalunya dalam ekonomi ataupun dalam finance, we can put in 3 different scenarios. Best case scenario, normal scenarios ataupun worst case scenario kan. Best. Sometimes the second one kita panggil dia base. The third one is worst. So kita boleh pecah kepada 3 juga, the probabilities. So when you have 3 different rates kat sini, X%, Y%, and Z%, katakan. Ini Z So the total combine, kalau you totalkan semua, must equals to 1.0. Okay, the sum probabilities. Okay, must equals to 1. So this is just some information lah. You don't have to worry about probabilities. But if we have questions to this, dia akan make sure kan probabilities ni memang equals to 1. Whereby the larger the rates of variation indicates higher risk. Okay, ni kalau variation. Okay. So risk of expected return refers to the uncertainty. Okay, ada cakap juga tadi. The risk expected return reflect the degree of uncertainty that actual return will be different from the actual returns. Okay. So the future of expected return, we can measure the ER using this formula. Okay, the sum of. Okay, the sum of probability yang saya cakap tadi, probability yang the sum of that probability must be 1. So kalau dia ada banyak, you kena darab all and then you divide lah dengan berapa tahun. And we multiply with the possible returns. In order to get the expected return, kita darab dengan the possible returns. So for example like this. Okay, so we have expected return of stock B, okay, with 3 different probabilities. Okay, good stage of economy, ataupun dalam bahasa lain, this is the best case scenario. Okay, dia akan give you 13% return. Okay, this is base. So secara purata ataupun on moderate stage of economy, the return will give you around 9%. And this is worst case scenario. Okay, worst case scenario, it will give you 6%. Okay, cuma bila stage of economy ni, from good to poor, tak semestinya your return akan jadi lagi the best to the worst. Tak semestinya. Because some of the investment, lagi rendah ataupun lagi teruk ekonomi, mungkin return dia lagi tinggi. Okay, there are some investment like that. Okay, cuma dalam case ni kebetulan, the better the economy, the better the returns. Okay, and we have 3 different probabilities. Okay, and these 3, bila you combine ataupun you campur 0.3, 0.4, 0.3, this is where I said the total combine must be 1.0. Okay, so to find the ER, expected returns, the ER, okay, ER ni pun sebenarnya technically is average. Okay, kita nak cari burata sebenarnya. What will be the average of these 3? Kalau kita guna arithmetic mean tadi, we just add 13 plus 9 plus 6 and then we divide by 3. Then we get the average historical rate of return. Okay, but when we have the element of risk, okay, bila ada risk variation, dia ada the weights, the chances of the probability ni tadi. So we have to take this weightage into our consideration of returns. Okay, just to make comparison. Saya tak kira sebelum ni, 13.986. So sebab kita punya data tak banyak, so kalau kita buat simple average, AM you add all 3, you akan dapat 9.333%. Okay. But to get the ER, expected return, okay, macam mana dapat 9.33 ni is basically 13 plus 9 plus 6 and then you divide by 3. Then you get this one. Okay, the simple average. But based on the ER, expected returns, we multiply je 0.3 ni, multiply with 13%, and then you plus 0.4, multiply with 9%, and then you plus 0.3, multiply with 6%. So dapat lah ni. Okay, so the total after you sum, you get a 9.3%. So this is your expected return based on the scenarios here. Okay, so this is the expected return of this particular scenario. Okay, whereby we take into consideration the risk factor. Okay, And this is based on just on 1 year lah, 1 year punya data. But what happen kalau kita ada historical rates of return? So maknanya kita punya data tu lebih daripada 1 tahun. So given a series of historical returns, which we can measure using HPY, we can measure the element of risk. Okay, dalam the investment kita tengah buat ni, the common measurement untuk risk, measurement for risk. Kalau return tadi, kita ada ER lah dalam case ni. Kalau sebelum tu tadi kita ada HPY. Okay, but when we take into consideration the risk, we have ER. Okay, and to measure the risk, kita boleh measure gunakan variance. Okay, this one, variance, symbolized with the symbol sigma squared. Kuasa 2, sigma, kuasa 2, sigma squared. We can measure using standard deviation, SD, standard deviation. Or we can measure using CV, coefficient of variation. Okay, so let's look one by one. The first one is variance, or symbolized with the sigma squared. So the formula here is actually HPY, okay, HPY, the rates, the rates for each year minus with the EHPY. So EHPY ni technically is your ER lah sebenarnya. Sama macam expected return, cuma dia expected HPY, which is the average. Macam cakap tadi ya, the ER is technically the average ataupun sebab kita ada weight kat sini the weight ni. So kalau dalam matematik ataupun finance kita panggil ni macam concept of weighted average. Okay, kalau tadi ni simple average, arithmetic mean ni kita ambil je darab bagi semua ni, we sum all three and then we divide by n to get the arithmetic mean ataupun simple average. Tapi ER ni adalah konsep weighted average sebab dia ada weight. Setiap satu ni ada pemberat dia. So that's why kita multiply dulu baru kita sumkan ni. Okay, so this is the concept of weighted average. So again, this one HPY of that particular year minus dengan the EHPY, okay, to the power of 2. Okay, kena kuasakan 2 ataupun squared. Then you add the second year. Then the second add lagi third year and fourth year, whatever year lah yang ada, which represented by n. Kalau 3 tahun, nanti kita bagilah 3. Kalau 4, divide by 4 for example. Okay, so to simplify, formula dia ni, the sum of R minus, this is the returns of that particular year minus with the average. Ada tanda line kat atas R tu is the average sign. Okay, ataupun the EHPY lah. Squared, and then divide by n, number of observation. So to find the next one, kita ni variance, to find the second measurement of risk is to use standard deviation ataupun sigma. So to find standard deviation very simple. Once you dah ada variance, sigma squared ni tadi variance kan, you need to square root the variance. Okay, square root of variance is equals to standard deviation. So if you've calculated the variance first, so what you need to do next is just square root je variance, then you get the standard deviation. So standard deviation measures the dispersion of return from the mean. So it is the square root of the variance and it measures the total risk. So the larger the dispersion, the smaller the chance to achieve what is expected. So dispersion tu macam ni lah contoh. Kalau I letak graph, katakanlah this is your expected return. Kat sini. Contohnya. So when they say it's dispersion, so dia punya chances dia move macam ni ya. So if you move dekat dengan line ni, so maknanya dispersion dia small. So maknanya bila you nak buat prediction, more or less you boleh agak lah dia punya jauh turun naik returns tu tak jauh daripada your expectation. Tetapi kalau dia go macam ni, kan dispersion ni besar kan. So the higher points dengan lower points ni further from the expected return, it shows that this is high risk. So lagi tinggi value standard deviation, lagi besar dispersion dia. So meaning if you want to predict, susah lah sebab katakanlah sini 4% kan return. So kat sini 8, sini 1% contohnya. So if you want to predict, you can go as high as 8% but can go as low as 1%. Tapi kalau dia punya dispersion too small, macam ni. So dia more or less you will earn dekat dengan your expectation of 4%. Sini mungkin 4.2, bawah mungkin 3.8 contoh. So this is low risk. Okay, bila dispersion is small, this is low risk. Tapi kalau dia case macam ni, this is what we call as high risk. High risk factor. So the higher the standard deviation, the higher the risk. Okay, sebab you boleh ambil risiko untuk dapat as high as 8%, tapi at the same time you can suffer the big losses lah. Okay, so that's the measurement of standard deviation. Okay, so it's why dia kata the larger the dispersion, jauh dia punya variation ni, the smaller the chance untuk you achieve this particular rates kat tengah ni lah, your expected values tu. Okay, so to calculate tadi, just square root the standard deviation. Okay, and the third one is the CV, coefficient of variation. Okay, so CV measures the risk per unit. Okay, per unit basis, based on the expected return, and it is a relative measurement of risk. Okay, so all three, the higher the values, the higher the risk. Okay, the more riskier the investment, and the greater the dispersion. Okay, so untuk cari CV, formula dia ada standard deviation. Okay, from number 2 tadi. And then we divide with the average rate of return ataupun the average return lah, ataupun EHPY tadi. Okay. So this is an example of an investment for 4 different years. Okay, with a return of 5.3 year 1, 4.6, 3.6 dengan 8.3. Alright, so the average return, okay, ataupun the EHPY tadi is you add all 4 and then you divide by N. So N dia 4 tahun. Okay, so untuk historical, this is based on historical rates of return, based on multiple years. So untuk multiple years ni, kita tak ada probability. Untuk probability yang I bagi example yang first one tadi, is the next one. Okay, lepas ni kita buat yang ada probability. This one, if we based on historical rates of return. So maknanya, return dia berlaku lebih daripada 1 tahun. Okay, so first things, we need to calculate the average, the EHPY. So the average is 5.45. So this is our reference lah, point of reference. So kebanyakan return kita kejap lagi kita kena kira based on 5.45. So katakanlah soalan kata calculate the variance, standard deviation and coefficient of variation, CV. So nak calculate variance, okay, bear with me. Formula variance adalah the sum of HPY tolak EHPY squared. So maksudnya kat sini, you need to take 5.3 based on this minus 5.45 based on this one squared. Okay, plus 4.6 minus 5.45 squared plus 3.6 minus 5.45 squared, and lastly 8.3 minus 5.45 squared. Okay, and formula dia adalah sum. So that's why dia plus ni. Can someone calculate and give me what is the answer tak untuk yang ni? 5.3 minus 5.45 you're supposed to get a negative value sebab dia kurang kan. Tapi you square benda tu. Okay, the function of square ni is to remove the negative values. Dia kuasa dua kan dia. Okay, and then your answer plus dengan the second layer, plus the third year, and then plus the fourth year. Okay, I nak tahu berapa total dia.
Oh my God, I don't have my scientific calculator.
This one you guna calculator biasa pun boleh. You
I
don't
try.
Okay, cuba dulu. So anybody else pun boleh tolong kira kan, tengok.
Doctor, 12.29.
12.2. 12.29. Okay. Any other answer? We assume this is correct because I tak calculate ni. I rely on your answer. So anybody can second this answer?
I think we can just accept the answer.
Sure. Sekejap. Sekejap ni. Salah jadi you get the wrong answer. Okay, for the sake of calculation kita kira satu-satu lah. Bukan tak trust we just double check the answer saja. 5.3 minus 5.45 squared. So this one kita dapat 0.0225. 4.6 minus 5.45 squared. So here is 0.7225. Third one is 3.6 minus 5.45. So about to 0.9995. So 8.3 minus 5.45 squared.
Yes, doktor, dapat 12.29.
298. So just to share you, ni tambah ni, then you get 12.29 lah. Okay, but this is not the end. Okay, kalau tengok formula ni tadi, kita baru buat yang atas ni je. So we need to divide it with n. So kena bagi dengan 4 lah. Okay, so 12.29 divided by 4. So the variance is around 3.0725. Okay, 3.0725. So that is the variance. All right. And next, if to calculate the standard deviation, SD, so you just square root 3.0725. Ni dapat apa?
Uh, 1.93.
1
93. Wait.
Oh.
The square root 3.0725. 1.75.
Right.
1.75.
Okay. Okay ke yang lain? Okay.
1.75 doctor.
Okay, so this is the first one, variance. So this is the second answer for standard deviation. So the third one is to find the coefficient of variance, CV. So to find the CV, okay, formula dia tadi adalah standard deviation. Okay, so in our case is 1.75 divided by the average return, which is this one. So it was 5.45. And what would be the CV in this case?
Uh, 0.32.
Okay, 0.32. Okay, so that's the measurement of coefficient of variance, 0.32. Okay, so remember tadi untuk sebenarnya sebab since we just have one, so untuk this topic we just calculate based on one. Tapi when we do portfolios, like for example untuk topik seterusnya, kita akan buat comparison between stocks ataupun different investment. So then we can make comparison. So just the rule of thumb, the higher the variance, standard deviation or even coefficient of variance, the higher the risk. Okay, untuk case ni kita tak boleh katalah dia high risk ataupun tak sebab we don't have a point of reference to compare. Cuma the slight difference in terms of how to measure sahajalah. Okay, SD tu like I said to measure the dispersion 1.75, it's more than 1. Tapi kalau nak tengok per unit basis, untuk CV ni tadi kan dia kata the measurement risk per unit. So for every unit, the risk is about 0.32. Okay, this is last part, is to measure the risk. Okay, the measure risk.
0.32 is a high risk or low risk?
That's what I said. Kita tak boleh
Oh,
kata
we don't
dia
know,
high
okay.
risk ke tak risk, high or low risk. We need to compare actually with another set of stocks. Contohnya ni sebab ni example dia stock A. So kalau kita ada satu lagi katakan stock B, we can compare dia punya score ni versus the other one. So whichever higher, itu lagi tinggi risiko dia.
Alright, okay. So if it's higher, then it's high risk, okay.
Yeah. The higher the scores, either variance ke, standard deviation or CV, the higher the risk.
Alright.
So, measuring the risk of expected return. So remember tadi the concept of ER, whereby we have the different probabilities, okay, and untuk the next set of question ni, we are going to revisit that approach, whereby we have different set of probabilities, and we're gonna measure the same thing. Kita akan measure juga variance, okay, we measure the standard deviation dengan CV jugalah, coefficient of variation. Okay, cuma the way we calculate is slightly different because now we have the probabilities. Kalau tadi ni kita calculate sebab kita ada historical rates, kita ada rates yang lebih daripada 1 tahun. Okay, but now kita nak measure all three, but for one particular year, but with the different probabilities. Okay, so there's a slight difference in terms of the way we calculate. Okay, walaupun nampak macam similar je dengan yang tadi. Cuma kalau tadi kita kena divide by n kan, kalau this part dan this part ni. Okay, sama macam kita calculate tadi, the returns minus the ER ataupun the A yang tadi tu EHPY squared, but now we multiply dengan probability instead of we divide with n sebab kita hanya ada 1 tahun, so we multiply with the probability, and for each layer tu kita akan sumkan dia, right? So this is a shortened version lah untuk the formula. Okay, kejap lagi kita tengok. So once you get the variance, okay, similar like before, the standard deviation, you square root je. Square root the variance. So this is the variance. We square root the variance in order to get the standard deviation. And similarly, to find the coefficient of variation or CV, kita ambil standard deviation and we divide with the ER. Okay, we divide with the ER. Okay, so the main difference is actually to find the variance here. Okay, so this is stock B. Okay, ni mungkin kita boleh compare lah, cuma yang tadi tu historical, but this is only for one particular year. So given the following information, calculate the same thing, variance, standard deviation, and coefficient of variation for stock B with this particular stock. Have three probabilities. Ini example yang tadi kita buat kan, 13, 9, and 6 ni kita dapat 9.3. Okay, so to find the variance, okay, sama macam konsep yang tadi. So technically it will be 13 minus 9.3 squared. Okay. Kalau tadi kita plus and then kita divide by 3 and but now it would be 9 minus 9.3 squared 6 minus 9.3 squared. So what's the difference? We have to multiply this with the respective probability. So kena darab dengan 0.3, kena darab dengan 0.4, kena darab dengan 0.3 again for this respective ni. So you kena move this one lah, or you can put it in front juga. And you have to add every single thing here. Okay, what would be the answer? Can someone calculate juga? Ada jawapan kat belakang? Ada jawapan kat belakang ni. Tapi tak apa, tolong calculate. 13 minus 9.3 squared times 0.3 plus 9 minus 9.3 9.3 squared times 0.4 plus 6 minus 9.3 squared times 3. So what would be the variance?
I don't know if I'm right, but I get negative 20.
Oh, variance tak sepatutnya negatif.
Wait,
Sebab the function of square,
oh yeah.
function of square ni kita eliminate all the negative amount.
Silap, let's go. 6 minus 9.3. Oh yeah, okay. Okay. Time 0.3, 3.26. $7.41.
7.41. Okay. So dia berkata 7.41. So it's this is the variance lah, 7.41. Okay, so to get the standard deviation SD, so we just square root 7.41.
Yep. Division.
2.72.
2.72.
Okay, 2.72. And to calculate the coefficient of variation, take 2.72 and we divide with 9.3.
0.2. 0.29.
4.29. Okay, 0.09. So, lari sikit figure ni, I don't know why, tapi tak apa. 7. Betul lah. 2.722, okay.
Okay.
Right, so we have two sets of answers. Mungkin it's not really an accurate measurement, tapi kalau for the sake of comparing the results, okay, we can see that based on variance, stock B lagi tinggi. Okay, and together with standard deviation, tapi kalau per unit basis, stock A is slightly higher risk. Cuma kita tak boleh compare actually because both is not in the same time horizon. Stock A ni ada 4 tahun, stock B ni ada 1 tahun je, and stock B ni is based on probabilities. Okay, it's just for this summary, is just to share with you the summary of the results, basically. Okay, so nak guna yang mana depending on questions. Okay, soalan tu kalau dia bagi probabilities macam ni, bagi probabilities macam ni, we're going to use the ER format whereby we use this formula yang ada ER. Tapi kalau dia bagi historical rates of return, so we're going to go back to this one. Okay, sebab standard deviation dengan CV both using the same the same formula. Okay, perbezaan dia hanyalah on the series, okay, series of historical returns ataupun using probabilities. This one. Okay. Ada soalan? So yang belakang ni dia bacalah. I don't want to go through. Untuk yang belakang ni is just a theory. And for SML ni pun kita akan go through lagi nanti in the capital market punya sections. Okay. So the most important part for today, alright, kalau kita nak recall balik whatever we've learned from the beginning earlier tadi, first kita measure the concept of returns, okay, from any particular investment, whereby kita ada concept of HPR and then HPY, and we learn juga about annual HPR, HPY, okay. And then kita ada the means, okay, arithmetic means and geometric means. Macam mana nak calculate kalau soalan tanya. And after that, kita take into consideration the element of income. Okay, so technically, bila you dah tahu pasal income, kita boleh combine je the formula. So regardless dia ada income ke tak, you just can add HPR, HPY tu using the ending value plus your income divided by beginning values to all situation. Okay, and after that, the concept of risk come into picture. Kita calculate using the probabilities, and from that risk kita boleh measure juga the risk factor using the variance, the standard deviation, and also the what's satu lagi tadi, the coefficient of variation, KCV. Okay, and that would be the summary for today's topic lah. Okay,
Alright.
so untuk next meeting bila next meeting? Isnin ke depan lah, kan? It's on the 15th, so 15th still online kita akan meet online lagi on the 15th. Kita akan go through topic 3 pula, sama juga, still risk and return, but now we are looking at portfolio pula, okay, based on the portfolio. So I nak bagi quiz sebenarnya, tapi fikirkan raya, tak apalah, I keep the quiz for time being, bagi you all break dulu. So after raya nantilah baru I bagi quiz Alright. So
Alright.
thank you very much. Alright, and I would like to wish you guys Selamat Hari Raya. Enjoy your holidays. And inshallah I'll see you guys next week on the 15th online. Alright, thank you.
Alright. Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Alright.